Hi, this is the extended hand of humanity, the 21st Century Underground Railroad for pro-democracy Americans seeking safe passage to the truth, as well as the assault on our democracy and those that pose it. I'm your conductor, Mike B. Welcome aboard. With 3 weeks of president under his belt, many Americans are finally starting to get over their selective amnesia or willful ignorance as the daily chaos of 4 years ago once again becomes the focus of their daily lives. And the king of chaos sucks all the oxygen out of the room, leaving them gasping for air as they try to catch their breath between one shocking, unlawful executive order or proclamation after another. The stress that they felt 4 years ago, like muscle memory, grows stronger in anticipation of the next shoe to drop. Donald Trump got a taste of power his first go-around as president. Imagine what it must have felt like for a narcissistic egomaniac to hear that he is the most powerful man in the world, to hear the cheering crowds, the adoring cult-like leanings ready to dive off the cliff at his command, to be viewed by them as having been sent by God. But then the rage that he must have felt having brought into his circle to serve him those who would refuse to do as they were told, stating that what was being requested of them was not only unethical, but also unlawful. And while they serve at the pleasure of the president, they serve the American people and are bound by the Constitution. And instead of doing as they were told, they became the guardrails that protected the American people from his lust for unbridled power. A mistake that Donald Trump learned from and did not make this time. This time around, the proof of loyalty and the willingness to do as told, regardless of if it is unethical, immoral, and unlawful, is the only requirement of importance to him. Competence is no longer a requirement for some of the most important jobs in America. This time, there are no guardrails within the Trump administration. And the head of the FBI, the CIA, the Secretary of Defense, head of Homeland Security, and Attorney General, whom is often referred to as the American top cop, were chosen because they were all willing to take the knee and vow their loyalty to Donald Trump, not the American people, the rule of law, or the Constitution of the United States. We should all be very alarmed. Which is the purpose of this podcast, to sound the alarm and ring the bell so that we pro-democracy Americans are awake and alert to the attempts to divide us, create hate, fear, and panic with the sole purpose of allowing Trump and the oligarchs to fleece the American people, steal away our democratic rights, and destroy democracy, which would render the Constitution impotent. But amidst all the chaos, we can catch our breath now and again, knowing that even when it comes to tearing down and dismantling Trump and those that he has nominated to sit at the foot of his throne, incompetence will slow them down, allowing time to act rather than react as the barrage of attacks on our government, their ignorance of the law, the Constitution, and attempts to bully the American people is underway. Unfortunately, mainstream news media continues to willfully aid in the threat to our democracy by way of false equivalence and omissions. I will continue to call out the mainstream news media for their role in normalizing that which is not normal, sane washing that which is insane, and misleading the American people by way of omissions for as long as it continues. As president, Donald Trump has a large bully pulpit that he uses to spread propaganda, mislead, and attack those that oppose oligarchy, autocracy, and authoritarianism. When Trump says something that is blatantly inaccurate or a lie, it is not just good enough to point out that the Democrats say that it is inaccurate or a lie. They must also themselves state that it is inaccurate or a lie if that is the case. Otherwise, some Americans will view it as nothing more than a partisan view, rather than the fact that it is. If they don't do so, they are willfully misleading the American people by way of omission. And they are acting as enablers that are allowing Donald Trump to lie and spread misinformation to the American people, whom are entitled to the truth, not some watered-down version of the truth. If it seems that I am being hard on the news media, that is because we have never needed them to speak truth to power more so than now. We desperately need them to rise to the occasion and focus more on being honest and less on appearing to have no dog in the fight. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth is their dog in the fight. You don't have to pick a side to point out if someone lied. If you're like me, you can't count the number of times that you have heard Donald Trump say to the media, "I have heard," or "people are saying," then proceeding with some tall tale aimed at discrediting something or someone or bolstering himself. But what you have rarely heard, if ever, and for me it is never, the media pressing him for where did he hear it and who are the people that said it. And they must hold his feet to the fire to be specific. If he can't provide where he heard it and who the people who said it are, then they must tell the American people what he is saying must be disregarded because it has no merit. Figuratively, when a lot of Americans look up, they see dark clouds in the sky and it feels like a storm is coming. And as they literally are being told by the thousands that they have been fired from their jobs or being made bogus offers if they voluntarily quit, and farm loans, grants, funds for food, medicine, and medical care have been shut down. Each day they are watching attempts being made to dismantle the government piece by piece, enlisting and empowering Elon Musk to be the Grim Reaper. Attempts to usurp control of the Treasury, law enforcement, the media, the American protection organizations, a coup from the executive branch of government on the constitutional rights of the American people, an almost textbook case of authoritarianism for the world to see. But I'm here to tell you that this war on our freedoms waged by the true enemies within is long from over. The courts are our front line, and so far the front line has had no significant breaches, as courts hold firm to the rule of law and the Constitution. Battles are being won in the courts daily throughout the country in both blue and red states, because pro-democracy Americans put loyalty to America and the Constitution of the United States above loyalty to any political party. But we, the American people, are the last line of defense, because if oligarchs or an authoritarian rules the country, there is no freedom. The rule of law and many of the safeguards that Trump is and will continue to work diligently on removing are holding the demons of our past at bay. While Kamala Harris lost the election, the cry of "we're not going back" will only grow in volume and intensity. Many Americans have quickly recognized that the threats to our country are real. And given the makeup of the Senate, the House, and even the Supreme Court, together united may be our only chance to save American democracy. People are feeling galvanized, and anti-Trump protest rallies are happening in cities across the U.S. as thousands make their voices heard. And the crowd sizes will grow much larger and the voices much louder in the days and weeks to come. And it is not just in the blue states. Protest rallies are springing up from California to Georgia, Texas to New York, Pennsylvania to South Carolina, and that's just to name a very few in the last few days. We will not let democracy go gentle into that good night. In the previous podcasts, I've spoken about seeing the writing on the wall and of pieces being put into place to undermine the will of the American people before the election. And my fear that many that weren't paying attention did not see the writing on the wall or were ignoring it. But sometimes a look in the rear can make what's ahead more clear, and it would appear that's what many have done. What the writing on the wall that I read said was proceed with caution, there's danger ahead. This is the extended hand of humanity, the 21st Century Underground Railroad, for pro-democracy Americans seeking safe passage to the truth, as well as the assault on our democracy and those that pose it. I'm your conductor, Mike B. Watch this space.